So there have been a lot of reasons for the Lions' defensive success so far this season, especially against the pass. From playmakers to communication, and Meek Robertson has led so much of that, the versatility in the back end between the safeties, but also Aaron Glenn's creativity and the wrinkles that he brings to each week for different opponents to have an answer for what that team likes to do tendency-wise. So here we're going to see two different looks of two read looks or palms looks from the Lions defensively against the Colts, and this is what you're going to get. So you're going to see at the top of the screen, the big number 2 is that they're reading the number 2 receiver here. So if he breaks out, cornerback dives, safety works over top. In this case, it'd be Kerby Joseph. Now you're going to see how the Lions are going to take away the middle of the field by leaning into this coverage. Now, at the bottom, I assume they called it off to just play some man, which would mean that Brian Branch on this play will have to play over top of that number 2 receiver, and he actually matches him up. But then on the backside, as it's an inside route from that number 2 receiver, now that backside cornerback can stay vertical. Now that safety can roll back over top to look for support. You'll notice Kendall Vilder at the bottom of the screen, how playing the outside number 1, he has to then squeeze off this deep dig route. So the Lions are doing a great job taking away the sticks and specifically those middle of the field shots that the Indianapolis Colts love to run. And as you can see, by the time Richardson gets out of the pocket with some pressure from Za'Darius Smith back to the personnel, there's nowhere to throw the football. And what stands out is that the Lions defensively, both of these plays are going to look basically the exact same because of the way that they're executing defensively and how sound they're playing. So again, close splits at the bottom, you basically can match those up, and the safety can play over top of the number 2 if it goes vertical. Then at the top of your screen, same 2 read look. Now, Kendall Vilder is going to play over top here through his read steps. He did get beat earlier in this game, being a little bit probably aggressive, and they got behind him, and that's very understandable because of the way they were playing those number 2 receivers and really delaying those outside corners. They got the Jets on the shot on that last week. But then notice here the safety play. So they match over top of the number 2. Brian Branch can then drop off and give backside support, which he ultimately is able to step down and help us underneath. But the Lions are playing so sound here, there's nowhere to throw the football, and they force Anthony Richardson to go underneath, which that's not where he's comfortable beating teams. They like to beat teams with big, over-the-top explosive plays, and the Lions minimize that with this as one of their wrinkles as a coverage look that they lean into heavy. Similar to what they did against Green Bay when they started going cover 3 match, which they hadn't done much of during the season. They had different coverage looks for who they were playing specifically, and they're executing it extremely well. And on top of all of this, it's about the playmakers. And just as a couple examples, offensively, Jameson Williams. In a game where Indy started to lean back and revert to who they are as a cover 3 team in the second half, the Lions in the past, not always were they always able to beat cover 3 with one-on-one receivers outside. In this game, St. Brown did it once, and they came back to JMO. 3 straight plays, they essentially said, who's going to go win on the outside for us, because they're doing a really nice job being disciplined and taking away these middle-of-the-field tight window throws. And then, of course, guys, defensively, Jack Campbell rising to the occasion, somehow here handling Quentin Nelson between the A and B gap on a pass rush front look where Richardson's going to take off and try to pick up this first down. He plays over top of Nelson and makes the stop. Sometimes your players just go out there and make the plays, but Aaron Glenn and his coaching staff deserves a ton of credit.